you know?
It's true. It's really true, and I think there is something to that, and something that I picked up back in my teaching days.
Yeah.
I went to a professional development on something, and they're essentially talking about, having those accountability conversations with your students in that case,
Right.
or with the people that you're responsible for on the management side. And a big part of it is, removing yourself from the situation.
Right.
And then it they were really pushing being very proactive with praising specific things that you see them doing in a timely manner, right? Because they're saying you need to make those deposits
Yep.
in order to be able to make withdrawals, right?
Yep.
So if I'm in a situation, Drew, where I need to call you out on something, there's something going on at work that isn't something the way we do, or something
Right.
like that. We need to have that relationship. I actually have to build up that capital with
Yes.
you in order to make that. And so, but I think a big part of the key is that it can't just be like nonsense. One time I worked with a guy who there would be a disaster shift, and at the end of it, he would say, "Oh, everybody's amazing. This was amazing." And it's like, no, actually, it was a disaster. And there, you know what I mean? And so,
The hype man.
yeah, absolutely, right. And there's something to being positive, right?
Yeah.
Positivity is good, but it also has to be realistic, because everybody knows nobody wants that to happen again, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you mentioned it too. It's having the nerve to actually have that conversation when you need to have it. And you generally need to have it sooner than maybe you want. Like, right? Like if you have that feeling in your stomach where you're like, oh man, I really need to talk to this person, and you see that little window, you got to take it.
Yep.
You got to take it. Yeah.
Timing is everything. And so
Mhm.
you'll find too where people might not be in the right mindset that day. And it's
Sure.
like, if I try and have that conversation, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to sink in, and we're not going to have a good, honest conversation. And that's not going to do either of us any good. So there's times when you've got to address it right away. There's times when maybe I've got to wait a day,
Mhm.
to sit down and talk. But you're right on with the deposits, man. Every conversation, you're either building trust
Mhm.
or you're tearing down trust.
Sure.
Every interaction.
Sure.
And we don't think about it that way. But, you talked about getting energized when you're on a podcast and stuff like that. When it's the same in everyday, conversations. You walk away and you feel good about a conversation, or there's times when you walk away and you're like, I really don't feel good about that one.
Sure. Sure.
And you can tear down trust. I've seen instances where I'll give you a specific example. There was a guy who performance was struggling a little bit, and it came time for a raise, and sat down and had to discuss things. And I saw this manager tell him, well, the company's not doing well this year, so you're not going to get a raise.
Sure.
The reality was his performance wasn't up to par, and that's why he didn't get a raise. And those are two different things. And so, if you tell him it's because the company isn't doing well, it's kind of an out for you. And then you don't really have to get into a tough conversation about why the performance isn't where you need it to be. But then how does that affect him moving forward? So when I say, you're serving your people, that's part of it. You can't help him, and he's not going to learn from that interaction. And he's not going to get any better moving forward. He's going to wonder, hey, is everybody else getting raises? What's going on with the company? Are we doing better? Now I'm going to get paid more money, but his performance doesn't change. And the goal is really just to help him. We're all guilty of screwing up, or not, not being as good as we will be 5 years from now at something. Although the older I get, I feel like we're going the other way sometimes.
Yeah, man, I hear that.
But the goal is to help people grow, just be honest and have those conversations. And I think from a leadership standpoint, that's part of communication. It's not just this is what's going on with the company or setting the expectations. It's being able to have those honest conversations in a timely manner when the time is right. And that helps out a ton. So
Absolutely.
But, I guess I said too, I'm not an extrovert. So having those conversations definitely wear me out, but I do enjoy them for what it's worth. It's probably an anxiety thing I've dove into a little bit more lately. And it's more the anxiety of having to talk to a bunch of people. When I have the interaction, I actually do enjoy it.
But even as an extrovert, man, I don't enjoy those conversations.
Yeah,
Because
no,
there's always that, and because I'm somebody, I like to make people comfortable. I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, right?
Yeah,
And so that stuff can get tricky. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you feel as if you got any value out of the video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos that you can watch. They're gonna maybe be over here or over here. Appreciate you watching.